Hey everyone, this is Mohammad Hassan and today I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should know in 2021 about Flutter 2.0. Let's get started. So first of all, Flutter Web moved to the stable channel. Yay! Now this means that your Flutter knowledge can now be used for apps for production, but not just for mobile, but also for desktop and web applications, but primarily web applications. And this is because Flutter 2 brings production level support for web. Now you might be asking, how's that possible? So let me share a couple of things with you. So Flutter's core engine is written in C and C++, but we write code in Dart. And the Flutter's rendering engine is built with Skia, which is a 2D rendering engine that is used to render your Flutter application. Now, the engine's core is compiled by Android NDK for Android and something called LLVM for iOS. For Android, the code is compiled into the x86 and ARM libraries, and when going for iOS, it is compiled into only the ARM libraries. So if we kind of conclude this, you write your code or the framework is Dart, then we have the engine which includes Skia, Dart, and finally text, which is converted into binary. Now you might be asking, what about web? Since Flutter's engine is written in C and C++, which is because it has to communicate with the underlying operating system, for web things had to be a little bit different. For instance, Dart has been compiled into JavaScript since the existence of Dart. So what Flutter team did is that they came up with a different implementation or a re-implementation of the Flutter core engine based on the standard APIs for browser. So with this change, we actually have two ways to render the Flutter application for the web. The first one is HTML and the second one is WebGL. For HTML5, Flutter uses HTML5, CSS, and SVGs to render the Flutter content. But for WebGL, we have a compiled version of Skia that is used to render the Flutter content, and this compiled version is called CanvasKit. Let's have a quick look at CanvasKit. So you can go to this site, which is now being showed on your screen, and you can see the implementation of Skia using WebAssembly and CanvasKit. So if you go down, you will see a lot of applications or a lot of examples. For instance, you can see that we have a complete set of lighting and shadows in this example. So it is using WebAssembly and Skia behind the scenes. And this is what you might use when you are building some games, for instance. Now you might be asking one thing, that how can I actually build web applications with Flutter in this modern age when you're using React, Angular, Vue, and you have this really cool ecosystem which allows you to, for instance, have hot module reload while development that makes it super fast. So during the development time, Flutter's solution is to use something called Dart Dev-C or Dart Dev Compiler, which allows you to do a hot restart. It's not a hot reload, but you can do a hot restart, which basically compiles the code that is changed. So you don't have to do a complete rebuild of the applications. Now, when going for production, Flutter uses something called Dart2.js, which is Dart's highly optimized production JavaScript compiler that works along Flutter, and it compiles your code, the Flutter's core framework as well, and then combines into a minified source file that can be deployed to any web server. One of the really cool implementation of a Flutter web app was shown in Flutter Engage, and that was the Rive app. Let's have a look at it. So this is the Rive app, and I absolutely love their web application or their introductory landing page. So if you see this is when you scroll down, and this is the app that we are talking about. So this whole interface to create designs, animations, that is built with Flutter. So this is a really cool example to kind of understand what is possible for working with Flutter web application. Now, one important thing to notice is that Flutter for web right now is more suited for web applications and not for portfolio websites which require a really good SEO. So Flutter is not there yet. So you might want to consider your use case for choosing Flutter for web. It's not there for SEO yet, so just a disclaimer out there. The second thing that we need to talk about is sound null safety in Flutter. Now this is one of the biggest announcement of Flutter Engage. So starting Flutter 2, you have sound null safety incorporated into your Flutter applications with the Dart's version, that is the latest version right now. And since the null safety is incorporated into .type system, it prevents developers from running into null check errors in production, which crashes the applications. So you will get this information in your development environment, and you should be able to see in the IDE and should be able to fix them, which means that when going to production, we are more confident about our code base. And what's great is that there are more than 1,000 packages which have been published or upgraded to have sound null safety on the pub.dev package repository. Now this also includes hundreds of packages from the material team, the Dart team, the Firebase team, and also the Flutter team at Google. For example, we can have a look at this Firebase storage package from the Firebase team, and you can see that this has been upgraded to have null safety via this label, and this also supports Android, iOS, macOS, and web. The third thing that we have to talk about is that the Flutter team has broadened the Flutter framework from just being a mobile framework to a portable framework. This means that this unleashes your apps to run on a wide range of platforms, not just on mobile and web, but also on desktop and embedded systems. And we are going to get into that as well. So every app gets a free upgrade with Flutter 2, and this means that your app can now grow beyond platforms with just little or maybe no code change at all. The fourth thing that we need to talk about is that now big companies are investing in Flutter and making their default choice for building some user interfaces. For instance, Toyota announced that they are going to implement their next generation infotainment systems in their vehicles with Flutter, which means that Flutter is now going to run on embedded systems. Another announcement was by Ubuntu, and they said that Flutter is going to be the default choice for their future applications, which means that an operating system is highly invested on Flutter going forward, and this means a lot of opportunities for Flutter developers in the future. The fifth thing that we need to talk about is that Flutter is being used in Google for Google products, which means that Google is highly invested in Flutter and is looking to plan ahead to make this the most successful framework out there because they have their own products built on top of it. One of the announcements that they did was the Google Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter, which means that you should be able to place ads like the overlay ads or the in-view ads within your Flutter applications using the Google Mobile SDK. So this was a really cool announcement, and they also have other products built with Flutter as well. Let me show you. If you go to the official blog of Flutter for the Flutter 2 announcement, you will see that there are a lot of Flutter powered Google applications, which includes Google One, Google Pay, and honestly I didn't know that Google Pay was built with Flutter. We also have Stadia, which is Google's gaming platform, and a bunch of other products that you can see. This means that if you are working with Flutter, you have a really good future ahead of you. Now this is a bonus thing that I wanted to share with you to just reflect on the power of Flutter on web. So you can go to flutterplasma.dev and you should find this. If you have any kind of photosensitive epilepsy, don't watch this video or you can skip ahead. I'm just going to play the demo to show you what this is, and everything that you see now is not something pre-rendered or created using assets or images. It's actually rendering on Flutter. So see this now. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed it. It might be a little bit janky or flaky since I was recording this, but if you go to the website, you should be able to see it working perfectly fine with 60 FPS and you should be good. Now you might be asking, how can I actually start learning Flutter? So you can go to flutter.dev and you can find a bunch of examples and tutorials out there, so you can definitely go right into it. There are also a lot of YouTube channels that you can follow and watch video tutorials there. I usually have some advanced tutorials in my channel, but if you want me to create something from scratch or beginner Flutter tutorials, let me know in the comment section. For example, if you want me to talk about state management in Flutter or using some packages, just let me know. And make sure to like the video if you have not done it yet, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you tell me how the video was in the comments, if you learned something new or not, was it a yay or nay. And take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.